হ্যাঁ বলুন। হ্যাঁ দেখুন দেখুন চেষ্টা করুন, মানে হচ্ছিল না, জুমটা প্রবলেম করছিল, এখন হবে দেখুন। হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম। হ্যালো ম্যাডাম।
দাদা আমারটা তো যাচ্ছেই না জুম কলটা।
মানে এখন এখন যাবে দেখুন, জুমটা খুব ডিস্টার্ব করলো, 4:02 আমি অনেকক্ষণ ধরে চেষ্টা করছি, জুমের প্রবলেম ছিল, এখনো মনে হচ্ছে।
আমারও বলছে ইনভ্যালিড যাচ্ছে, এখনো ওই ট্রাই করছি আপনার সাথে।
হ্যাঁ আবার ফ্রেশ করে করুন, ফ্রেশ করে লগ ইন করুন।
ঠিক আছে।
Join and we are getting messages in the group as well. So we will start sharp at 4:10. I request people to please cooperate with us and have patience. We are starting sharp on time, and we have our guest of honor also available with us today here, Mr. Jitendra Sharma.
Good afternoon, everyone. We just waiting for another 3 to 5 minutes. और बोल रहा है ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहा है, प्रॉब्लम। সনদ জি, হ্যালো।
হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ সমিত,
শোনা যাচ্ছে?
শোনা যাচ্ছে? सनोज जी, अरे बहुत आदमी तो ये घुस नहीं पा रहा है, बोल रहा है नहीं घुस पा रहा है, क्या करे?
শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Just after Bob was kicked in the service tennis, Becky becomes entangled in a high-profile.
বলছি আসার সময় হ্যাঁ
Good afternoon. Sanojji, are you hear me? Unmute yourself.
Sanat sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
बहुत
दिन बाद.
दिन बाद. Friends, now we can start. Already we have 15 minutes gone due to technical glitch with the Zoom. Many people are can't join. I don't understand how to solve it. सौरभ सर भी ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बार-बार बोल रहे हैं. सौरभ सर ये क्या करें? सौरभ सर भी ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं.
एग्जिट करके फिर से करने के लिए बोलिए.
হচ্ছে না. अभी सबको रिस्टार्ट करके वो जो लोग नहीं हो रहा है वो बोला तो अभी देखिए हो रहा है सिस्टम. हाँ, सौरभ सर आ गया. हमारा बीच में सनत जी ये शिवराज सिंह देख रहे हैं ना इधर. शिवराज सिंह सीएफपी है, वो भी ये सीएफपी ट्रेनिंग कर रहा था सीएफपी का. तो शिवराज जी थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शन आपको देने से अच्छा लगेगा सबको.
सर गुड इवनिंग. मेरा नाम शिवराज सिंह है और जैसा सर ने बताया सो इट इज कन्वीनियंट इन हिंदी और इंग्लिश और हिंदी इंग्लिश बोता ना.
हाँ, यस यस.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर. My name is Shivraj Singh. I am belonging to a very small city, Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh. And I hope many of us seen Mirzapur 1, Mirzapur 2 season, although it is not the actual representation of our city. My native place is Gorakhpur. That is Gorakhpur city. Perhaps you know the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh is belonging to that particular city. So Gorakhpur, and it is also known for Gita Press. So since 2008, I started my career as a manager training in Max New York Life. 3 years I completed there. On educational front, I completed my fellowship in 2014 and alternative investment manager, and after that certified financial planner. We three partner are running one LLP, that is Fintellect Intelligent Financial Services. Since 10 plus years we are in market, and I'm fortunate enough to come to know Karmakar sir during the meeting. We met there, enjoyed a lot. And I was fortunate that when I raised the question about the mutual fund fraternity, sir just put one more question in support of that. So in industry since more than 15 years I passed. So that is a simple introduction. I am married on personal front. 2 children are there. One is 15 years and other is 8 years old. Residing right now in Mirzapur city. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is fantastic. And after that, we can, when question answer session, you will answer also on that time. So now I ask to Dr. Saurabh Majumdar. Are you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Oh, please introduce yourself further, because many people are new face.
Okay. So this is Dr. Saurabh Majumdar. I am an ex-banker. I worked with HSBC Bank for about 29 years, mainly in the foreign exchange and foreign currency remittances department. And in the educational front, I have completed my CIIB, that is the Associate Member of Indian Institute of Bankers, then CFA from ICFA University, Hyderabad, and then FRM from GARC, USA. And after that, I have completed my PhD. My topic of my PhD was, stock market, particularly in the post-liberalization period. So presently, I am associated with SGDA, and with a spectrum of training facilities which are available in SGDA as per the requirement of the people who are working in the mutual fund fraternity. Not only in the mutual fund fraternity, but we will launch some new courses in foreign exchange and international trade also, to cover the full spectrum of the financial training. So the training will be, there will be many small crash courses, which will be very much helpful for the people who are associated with the mutual fund industry. Not only the mutual fund industry, but who are interested to join banking services, financial services, mutual fund industries. So, and there will be two mother courses. One is in the subject of foreign exchange, forex management and international trade. Very much beneficial for the people who are working in banks or willing to join in the bank. And mother courses which I have designed with a tagline that what you must know before entering into the stock market. So there will be a lot of learning opportunities with SGDA, and that's it, Gautamda, from my side. Any questions?
Actually, what is our mission vision about SDGA?
The mission and vision of SGDA is to provide a good quality of training, because there is a lot of gap that we have understood, which are required to have by the people who are in the financial market. And not only that, the people who are working in mutual fund industries might require some knowledge in the other fields like banking, financial sector, and financial services. So SGDA is here with a lot of courses, crash courses, one-day courses, and detailed courses also. So Gautam is sharing some screen, right?
It's, but not paused. But I am just trying
Okay,
to.
okay.
Yes.
So it will be very much helpful for the people because we find that a minimum level of knowledge is required for the people who are offering financial services to the clients. And to avoid mis-sell and for their growth of the business, it is very much required to have a certain level of knowledge. So we are here with the number of courses will be offered, and the procedure of doing these courses will be narrated by Mr. Gautam.
Yes. Thank you so much. After question answer, we also discuss everything. Now I hand it over to our veteran and author, come speaker, come trainer, come faculty, whatever is very short. What I am saying, Mr. Sanod Bharadwaj, please tell us what about we are already Ashish Somayaji already incoming. Before start, please Sanod ji, thoda brief kar dijiye. Welcome to Ashish ji. Everyone, we cannot clapping because this is digital. So we are. Thank you so much, Ashish ji, for your precious time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes. Now I am Sanod ji. थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शन दे दीजिए, उसके बाद ये पीएमएस के बारे में जो कुछ है वो ट्रेनिंग के बारे में बाद में बताएंगे. पहले आशीष जी हम लोग को वो क्यों करे क्यों नहीं करे, इसका अपॉर्चुनिटी क्या है वो सुनेंगे, उसके बाद इसका ट्रेनिंग के बारे में सब कुछ हम बताएंगे. तो अभी आप थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शन दे दीजिए. What is your mission? हाँ.
Good evening to all of you and welcome sir, Ashish sir. The introduction part has already been given to us by the Saurabh sir. His intent was actually our intent is as well. Basically, we are here to provide some kind of educational skill-based training support which can enhance your business. That's all. Academic curriculums are separate part and professional upgradation is separate part. We are largely concentrating into the professional areas where skill can be enhanced for somebody who is doing into business. Fine. So that's the one area. The second area is where the academic part comes. We are targeting also young students who are aspiring to go into capital market, mutual fund, business and finance. So for them, academic base is little more required in terms of business and finance. So there we are also targeting, planning to get into that mode of training and engagement. It will, of course, it will take some time to get into and get accepted by the crowd, but that is also one minor area where we are planning to have it. Besides, we have a lot of industry engagements where people from different professionals from industry, they come and speak to us, they come and guide us and inspire us. So that is also one area where we are trying to engage with. And lastly, we are recently was discussing with Gautam sir that why not to make some kind of a club where not weekly, probably fortnightly or could be a monthly engagement online mode, where the analysis of news that happen in the 1 month time in that tenor can be discussed. We can invite industry persons, we can invite somebody who is expert and core into this area can also come. So that could be a regular feature where somebody can get this kind of insight. So that's basically is the comprehensive idea that we have about this organization, and rest is all upon the way we work forward. So we are here with us, Ashish sir. He's a very, very veteran and big name in this industry. So let us listen to him, and thereafter we will have our engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanod ji. I directly handed over to our veteran sir, Ashish ji. Please, platform is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Gautam ji and Sanat sir for inviting me to speak to all of you today. So I know that you all have gathered for some kind of training related to PMS and AIF. I'm sure all of you are engaged in advising your clients with regards to mutual funds. And at the same time, you must have seen that in the last few years, a lot of high net worth investors or a lot of affluent investors have not only been investing in mutual fund, but they have started to switch over a lot of their preference, and a lot of the investment going into PMS and into alternate investment funds. Now, before I share a few slides on the presentation, I would just like to highlight some numbers for the attention of the people. Sir, can we mute all the lines, please?
Yes. I do.
कितना बढ़िया लगा यार चावल है
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, just before, before I start, with some slides, etc., I would just like to give a little bit of data and some overview of the industry, because like Gautam sir mentioned, you should know, as a financial advisor, as a mutual fund distributor, or as a distributor of financial products, you should know why PMS and AIF should be part of your offerings, right? For that, just to share some bit of data or numbers with you. If you take the equity mutual fund industry, let us see where the numbers, let us see what the AUM was 10 years back, and let us see what it is today. So 10 years back, equity mutual funds total AUM was 1.8 lakh crores. Today, equity mutual fund industry is totally almost 20 lakh crores. Of course, out of this 20 lakh crores, a lot of it is government related or institutional AUM. So, we have almost 2 lakh crores of the employees provident fund money into Nifty ETFs. We have disinvestment money of Bharat 22, CPSE, all those kinds of things. So still you remove couple of lakh crores of government related AUM, and what you will find is that 10 years back, the equity mutual fund was 1.8 lakh crore. And today it is somewhere in the range of 17 to 18 lakh crores, correct? In the same time frame, what has happened in PMS and AIF? Let us understand that. 10 years back, AIF regulation was new. We used to have venture funds and real estate funds, but we did not have equity AIFs, and we did not have AIF regulation. It was just a new regulation. There was not much of AUM 10 years back. So you can imagine that category 3 AIFs, which deal with equity, long, short, all these kind of categories, that was practically zero 10 years back. Today, equity AIFs, okay, I'm not talking about venture fund and real estate fund, purely equity related AIFs, the assets is more than 1 lakh crores. 10 years back, it was practically zero. Today, it is nearly 1 lakh crore. And what is the scenario with PMS? 10 years back, equity PMS. Again, I'm not talking about debt and non-discretionary and all those kind of things. I'm talking purely about equity PMS. Equity PMS 10 years back was less than 10,000 crores. And today, the size of equity PMS is in the range of 2.75 lakh to 3 lakh crores. So in last 10 years, equity mutual fund totally has gone 10 times, from 1.7 or 1.8 lakh crores to approximately 18 lakh crores or 17 lakh crores. In the same time frame, AIF has gone from practically zero to 1 lakh crore, and PMS has gone from less than 10,000 crore to about 2.75 to 3 lakh crores in terms of the total assets. So what you can clearly see is that if you take the total pie, okay, meaning you take equity mutual fund, equity PMS, equity AIF, all of that you take as managed equity. It's not direct equity, it is not stock trading, it is managed equity. So 10 years back, PMS was less than 10,000 crore, AIF was zero, equity mutual fund was 1.8 lakh crores. So you just assume that, okay, total is 2 lakh crores. Today, what is the total? 18 lakh crore, 17 to 18 lakh crore of equity mutual fund, 3 lakh crore of PMS, and 1 lakh crore of equity AIF. So let's say total is 21 lakh crores. So 10 years back, out of 2 lakh crores, the alternates and PMS was less than 10,000 crores, which is less than 5%. Today, out of 21 lakh crores, alternates and PMS is 4 lakh crores, which means it is 20%. So in the last 10 years, the total size has gone from less than 10,000 crore to about 4 lakh crores. And in terms of the share of pie, alternate products and PMS product has gone from less than 5% to nearly 20% of the managed products industry. That is the kind of change that has happened in the last few years. What is the reason for this change? I'll cover when I share some of the slides. I'll cover that for you. And before I move on to that part, I just wanted to share this data with you so that you can understand that whatever is happening in equity, PMS and AIFs and all these kind of products is gaining lot of preference with clients and is gaining lot of acceptance with private bankers, wealth managers and distributors and advisors also. Now, let us look at a short presentation from my side, which will explain to you that what is the trend in, see, most of the finance industry, most of the investment management industry, lot of concepts or lot of developments that we get, it is basically coming from the Western world, mainly from the US, right? So let us first understand that globally, not just US, let us first understand that globally, the asset management industry, how is it shaping up? What is the share of alternates? I gave you an example of India, that in last 10 years, the share of alternates has gone from below 5% to nearly 20%, purely speaking about equity related platform itself. But what is the trend globally? What type of things are happening globally? Let us have a look at that also. So for that, I'm going to share a short presentation with you. And then, I hope you find this data interesting. And then, I'll just take it forward. So I hope you can, the slide is visible to you. Yeah. So this is a simple data. The source of this data is the, there is a firm called Boston Consulting Group, BCG. Every year, they release a global asset management survey, which basically tells you what are the trends in asset management industry globally in terms of different types of products. Now, if you see, what does this data tell you? It says global asset management trends, and then it tells you global AUM split by product. So what type of products are contributing to the total assets under management of the entire asset management industry on a global basis? The data is broken up into 5 classifications. The dark green at the bottom is passive products, which is index funds and ETFs. Then the second one, which is the green color, is basically active core. By active core, what we mean is, the large cap funds, actively managed funds, those kind of things. The third one is where I put the pointer. The third one is called solutions. Like in our industry also, we have multi-asset funds, balanced advantage funds. So solutions funds, balanced funds, that comes third. Then the lime green color, that is written as active specialty, which is basically thematic products, niche products, small cap funds, global emerging market funds, those kind of things. And the yellow one is basically what says alternative products. This is where you get all the AIFs and these kind of products globally. Now, if you see this data, the first column starts with 2003, then 2009, then 2019. This data is as of 2020. And in the end, there is a projection of 2025, which is, say, 3 years ahead of us. There are 2-3 interesting things which you will see in this data. What you will find here, generally speaking, when you talk about the equity fund management industry, you will find that there is a lot of debate and lot of discussion that money is moving from active mutual funds into passive mutual funds. This is the kind of normal discussion that you will find. I'll just highlight something interesting to you. In 2009, the active mutual funds, here where I put the pointer, it was totally $18 trillion. In 2019, active mutual funds became $29 trillion. In 2020, it became $32 trillion. And in 2025, it is going to become $36 trillion. So first thing that you should keep in mind is that active mutual funds, they may be losing some proportion of the total pie, but in terms of size, active mutual funds are also growing and they're expected to continue to grow. The second important thing, there's a lot of discussion about money moving from active to passive. It is true that passive funds are actually raising their corpus quite rapidly. But what is the bigger change that is happening? There is a lot of discussion about money moving from active to passive, but there is not enough discussion or one thing which is going unnoticed. Can we mute all the lines, please? But one thing, so a lot of discussion on money moving from active to passive, but one thing which is going unnoticed is that lot of money, if you see active specialty, which is the lime green color, and if you see alternatives, which is the yellow color, what you will find is that in 2009, active specialty was 11 trillion and alternatives was only 6 trillion. So 11 and 6, 17 trillion. By 2019, active specialty became 17 trillion and alternatives became 14 trillion. So 17 and 14, 31 trillion. And by 2020, active specialty became 19 trillion and alternatives became 15 trillion. So what is this 19 plus 15, 34. So at the end of 2020, what is the big news? The big news is not that money has moved from active to passive. The big news is that money has moved from active products into alternative products and into thematic or specialist active products, because 19 plus 15 is 34 trillion. This 34 trillion is bigger than 32 trillion of active equity, and it is 50% bigger than the 22 trillion of passive products. So this is something which all wealth managers, investment advisors, mutual fund distributors, everybody should keep this thing in mind, that if you read the newspaper, if you read your Twitter, if you read any social media, they will keep on debating that money is moving from active to passive and alpha is coming, alpha is not coming. These kind of debates will keep on happening. But what does the data actually show? The data actually shows that from the core active products, money is moving to specialist active products, which means thematic products, small cap product, global product, international fund, global emerging market fund, or into alternate products like AIFs or long short or these kind of things. And again, I'm repeating that by 2020, 34 trillion was in specialty active and alternative, which on its own is bigger than the core active and bigger than the passive products. And if you actually take even 5 years from now, what you will find is that this is still going to be bigger than active mutual funds or even the passive mutual funds. So alternate products or specialist active products like PMS, AIF, small cap, global, international, global emerging market, all these kind of specialty categories or thematic categories, they have been rising faster and they are going to continue to rise, and they are ultimately going to become bigger and bigger than the core categories of active mutual funds or passive mutual funds or ETF or index. So anybody who is a private banker, wealth manager, investment advisor, mutual fund distributor, they should have these products in their radar and it should be there in their consideration set. That is the first thing that I would like you to keep in mind. The other important thing now, this is all data, but even if you keep the data aside, the people who are reading literature, people who read books, they must have noticed that 10-20 years back, if you read the books on the investment world, it was Anthony Bolton, Peter Lynch, these kind of famous managers. I'm sure you know that Anthony Bolton, Peter Lynch, these guys, they were mutual fund managers. But nowadays, whose name are you hearing? You hear the names of people like Ray Dalio, Stan Druckenmiller. You read all these names. Do you know they are alternate managers? They are not mutual fund managers. What is the trend in our country? What are the big mutual fund managers in our country doing? Recently, you must have heard, for example, that Mr. Sunil Singhania, he was CIO for Reliance Mutual Fund. What is he doing now? He runs a company called Abacus. He is an alternate manager. Mr. Kenneth Andrade, he used to be CIO of IDFC. What is he doing now? He is a PMS and AIF manager. Mr. Pankaj Murarka, he used to be CIO of Axis Mutual Fund. What is he doing now? He runs a portfolio management and AIF company called Renaissance Investment Managers. Mr. Madhu Kela, he was also a big renowned manager, CIO of Reliance Mutual Fund. What is he doing now? He is a PMS and AIF manager. My company's founder, White Oak Capital, who was the founder? Our founder is my colleague. His name is Prashant Khemka. What was he doing before? Now he is managing international funds, PMS and AIF for White Oak. But before this, what was he doing? Goldman Sachs Asset Management. He was the CIO for global mutual funds. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that internationally as well as in India, a lot of stock picking, a lot of good managers are also focusing on alternates. So these are few data points that you should keep in mind. I've already shared the progress, or I've already shared the AUM numbers with you, so I don't want to bore you with more numbers. How much equity AIF has grown, how much PMS has grown, all this data I have already shared with you. So based on whatever I've spoken to you till now, few things to keep in mind. India is also following the global patterns. In our country also, thematic products, specialty products, PMS, AIF, all these kind of instruments are actually growing a lot more rapidly as compared to just the mutual funds are also, of course, growing rapidly. I have no favorites. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other, but as we go along, I'll explain to you why PMS and AIF products are rising faster. This trend is likely to continue in a bigger way. The reason is because there will be more and more innovation which will come. You can already see that instead of just equity and PMS, nowadays you have multi-asset funds, long-short funds, absolute return funds, different types of new categories are coming. Second thing you must have seen in the recent times, there is a trend of real estate investment trusts and infrastructure investment trusts also getting listed. They are not directly comparable to fixed income. They are definitely a lot more riskier compared to fixed income because they are volatile. They are listed and traded on the exchange. But real estate investment trusts and InvITs are also a good alternative to investing into pure fixed income or into hybrid products. I don't know if you know, but today in India already, the market value of real estate investment trust, which by the way is not added in the PMS and AIF, it's a different category. The total value of real estate investment trusts has crossed about 60,000 crores. And the total value of infrastructure investment trusts has crossed, I think, if I'm not wrong, about 25,000 crores. So 80 to 90,000 crores is real estate investment trust and infrastructure investment trust, which also, of course, is a big part of the alternate investment category. So new product innovation, new categories. There is a growth in the number of people who are affluent or HNI, right? So they'll have different types of investment objectives. Everybody who comes in the stock market or everybody who comes to your, investment advisory services, all these people, everybody doesn't want to do SIP in a multi-cap fund, right? different people have different investment objectives. Some people are there to grow their wealth. Some people are there to preserve their wealth. Some people are there just to get little bit more than bank deposits. So of course, different types of product innovation, different types of categories, when people become more affluent and more wealthy, and they have different diverse investment objectives, then it results in the growth of different categories of products. And the last thing you should keep in mind, why alternate products are growing. This is extremely important. Mutual funds today are becoming, mutual fund today is a household category. 10 to 20 years back, I started my career in mutual fund industry in 1998. When I started my career, mutual fund itself was an unknown category. People didn't know what was mutual fund. They were investing in bank deposits and chit funds and all these kinds of different things. But the fact is that today, mutual funds are a household name. Everybody understands what is mutual fund, what is SIP. So when a category becomes a household name, when it becomes household like a bank deposit, then the regulator tries to make it more and more simplified, more and more straitjacketed, more and more commoditized, so that everybody can understand it. So what is happening is that mutual funds are getting straitjacketed, and some of the purposes which mutual funds were, today mutual funds, when I say mutual funds are becoming straitjacketed, what does it mean? It means that there is a direct plan, there is a regular plan. What is large cap is defined by the regulator. What is mid cap is defined by the regulator. In every category, you can have one fund. What that fund can do and cannot do, how much cash it can hold, what asset allocation it should have. Everything is strictly defined by the regulator, right? Whereas in alternates, of course, alternates are also PMS AIF, REITs, InvITs, all of these things are also regulated, but clearly they are not as retail or as commoditized or as simplified as mutual funds. So when it comes to commercial latitude, when it comes to investment latitude, when it comes to the do's and don'ts and the risk return profile, obviously alternate products have a lot more leeway as compared to mutual funds. So what will always happen is that the retail investors, the smaller ticket investors, they will always go to mutual funds. And slowly as the market evolves, as the preferences of people evolve, you will find that a lot more people are going into, the affluent or the high net worth segment. A lot more people are going into PMSs and AIFs. That is the key thing. I've already explained this, so I will not take too much of your time. Basically, what are the regulatory developments which affect alternate investments? Straitjacketing of mutual funds is one of the key things. That is what I already shared with you, so not to repeat it. The other important thing is, of course, that previously PMS and AIF were thought to be out of reach or thought to be very exotic kind of products. But nowadays, even for PMSs, what is the commission payment, what type of disclosure, what type of expenses, what type of exit loads, everything has become very clear, very standardized. Only thing to keep in mind is that PMS and AIF are proving to be a better platform because of, very simply put, unfettered investment mandate, which means that nobody defines what is large cap, what is mid cap, how much to put where. Those restrictions are not there. Second is, because these are unfettered mandates, automatically it means that there is more performance potential or more latitude to the investment manager. There is more pricing option. For example, in our country, in mutual funds, you cannot have performance linked fees, whereas PMSs and AIFs, like for example, we charge fees on the alpha that we generate over the benchmark, right? Now that is not possible in a mutual fund. Irrespective of performance in a mutual fund, the fee is fixed. Whereas in our case, in a PMS or AIF, we charge only if we generate alpha. So these kind of pricing options, latitude in managing money, and of course, better transparency, better management. I don't know how many of you have seen, PMS disclosures. Of course, PMS is a bilateral agreement between a manager and a customer, which means that all the disclosures are bilateral. They are not public disclosures. But if you have invested in a PMS, then what is bought, what is sold, what is the price at which it is bought, what price it is sold at, what is the brokerage, what is the STT, what is the expenses, per month debit note is shared, all transactions, buy, sell, everything is shared. Shares are held directly in the demat account of the customer. So a lot of these transparencies are available when it comes to a portfolio management service. And of course, a mutual fund cannot provide this kind of transparency or this kind of service. So what I'll do is I'll stop here for a moment. I have tried to explain the data, what is the data in India, how PMS and AIF have grown, how it is globally progressing, what are the reasons for the growth. So these are few points that I wanted to share with you. I'll take a pause here. Gautam sir can add if he wants me to touch upon something, or if there are any questions, I'm happy to take it.
Thank you, Ashish ji. Very enlightening us, because if you technically you told that mutual, when you are joining in mutual fund in 1998. Yes, I know that time what is mutual fund. वो खाने का चीज है कि ये कुछ का है, ये पता नहीं था आदमी लोग का उस टाइम। मैं भी था ये इंडस्ट्री में, देखा है क्या है। तो उसके बाद ये आज जैसे हम लोग PMS AIF के बारे में बोल रहा है, आज का दिन वो उस टाइम का म्यूचुअल फंड का तरफ हो गया कि अभी भी तभी PMS का थोड़ा जानकारी है। उस टाइम तो म्यूचुअल फंड का ऐसा कोई जानकारी नहीं था। लेकिन हम लोग जो हम आपको इतना अच्छा लगता है कि आप जो बात बोलते हैं उसके बाद वो 2-3 महीना 4 महीने बाद वो ET में निकलता है। तो हम ये आप देख लिया लास्ट 15-20 साल जो देख लिया, आपका जो कुछ है आप जो बोलता है वो उसके बाद न्यूज़पेपर में आता है सब। तो जो कुछ बोलता है न्यूज़पेपर न्यूज़ निकलने के बाद। तो इसलिए हम लोग हर टाइम आपको रिस्पेक्ट क्यों करते हैं कि आपका विजन बहुत है। विजन एंड मिशन आर वेरी क्लियर। You know the actually your that's why I first time we are doing this type of session for the general distributor and learner, how to do the PMS and alternate fund, what is the future of our industry, what is the basic benefit of investor as well as distributor. So this is very, I open to all the forum if any question, because you clearly mentioned that the PMS is better than the MF because you have the right to asset allocate, which is not possible in mutual fund. So this is more performant. My one question is to you, what is only equity based? Now PMS and AIF can be with the debt fund also.
Oh yes, of course. Basically, I just gave some statistics purely for point of comparison, but clearly AIFs, PMS, etc. They can do fixed income. They can do unlisted also, by the way. They can be in all asset classes. And in fact, as you'll appreciate, a lot of the credit strategies, a lot of the fixed income strategies, nowadays they are being done on AIFs, and that works very, very well. Similarly, if you see debt also, previously debt mutual fund had a lot of tax advantage. Nowadays, all those tax advantages are going, which means that even debt can be done on PMS. Because mutual funds previously benefited a lot because of tax advantage. Now the tax advantages are reducing. So on your question, PMS and AIF can be debt also, not just equity.
Fantastic. So many people are that thought process was always PMS means only equity, and equity means that may be negative part. So you can manage with debt fund also. This is very informative for all. I think Sanoj sir, if you can ask Ashish sir to for our IFA fraternity, what question we need?
Yeah, I have a small query. Query is regarding a lot of distributors are asking question that is a distribution system of PMS has been made compulsorily through PMS examination, or it is still under consideration?
Yeah, so till couple of years back, anybody and everybody could be a PMS distributor. Like, see, for mutual funds, you know that you have to take AMFI exam and you need ARN and registration with AMFI. But for PMS, it was not required. Anybody could be. Then recently, they made it compulsory that even for PMS, ARN is mandatory, it's required. And now recently, they have added one more requirement, which is that I think 30th September is the cutoff. You have to clear one examination to be a PMS distributor. So it is getting more and more regulated. Till a couple of years back, it was absolutely unregulated, but now it is more and more regulated.
So one more query attached to this. As of date, what kind of numbers are available in terms of those who qualified PMS and then they are operating into PMS market?
See, right now, sir, everybody who has ARN can be a PMS distributor. But ये अभी exam का तो deadline 30th September है, तो उसके बाद पता चलेगा how many people are doing it. But I don't think the exam is very difficult. I think everybody should be, just like you are doing your AMFI, this also you should do.
Can you know something more about your company, because they are directly handling PMS? They are into this business of PMS.
Yes.
So,
so I just want to clarify one thing that, my company, which is White Oak, is into PMS management, into AIF. And of course, we have no favorites. Recently, we acquired the mutual fund of Yes Banks, Yes AMC. That name has already been converted. We have acquired the company. It is now called White Oak Capital AMC. So we are into PMS AIF, and now we will be launching our equity mutual funds also. But as far as PMS and AIF is concerned, we manage approximately 11,500 crores. 3,000 crores is in AIF, 8,500 crores is in PMS. So we are amongst the top three larger managers for PMS and AIF. Our first AIF started in 2017-18 and it matured in 2021. So you know that 19, 20, 21, that was a tough situation in the market. But in those 3 years, S&P 500, BSE 500 compounded by 10%, our AIF compounded by about 16%. In May 2021, we already repaid the maturity. Second AIF we started in 2018-19. It is not yet come up for maturity, but from 2019 till now, it is approximately 80% up. Maturity will come next year, so of course we will repay. Our PMS started in 2019. In last 3 years, it has generated about 22% compounded return, which is that is about 6% more than BSE 500 on a compounded basis. So we have good track record, and and I think that more and more investment advisors, mutual fund distributors, wealth managers, private bankers, they are adapting to PMS and AIF, and the demand is actually rising.
So one more question. Can in PMS you can invest in derivatives and derivative kind of product?
Yes, it's allowed. We don't do it. We are long only, but you can. It is allowed. We don't do it, but actually it's allowed. Anybody can do it.
And how is the regulation placed for the PMS vis-a-vis mutual fund in terms of compliance side? Is the same?
It is very strict. It is as compliant. See, only the requirements are different, but it is, but both are, like there is a SEBI mutual fund regulation, same way there is a SEBI portfolio managers regulation. And the regulations are as strict and as stringent as it is for mutual funds. Only the product construct is different. See, mutual fund is a mass retail vehicle. A PMS is a bilateral agreement between a portfolio manager and a customer. And in a PMS, for every customer, a separate demat account is opened. And the customer is giving a limited power of attorney to the PMS manager to manage the money on his behalf. So what happens in a mutual fund? It's managed as a large pool. Hundreds and thousands of people are investing, hundreds and thousands of people are redeeming. So in a mutual fund, apart from stock picking, one of the big job for a fund manager is to provide for inflows and provide for redemptions and keep managing the inflow and outflow and keep managing the cash flow. In a PMS is not like that. Gautam sir's portfolio is in his demat account, your portfolio is in your demat account, Gurmeet sir's portfolio will be in his demat account. So the transactions are done depending on the actions of the individual investors. A PMS is not managed as a mass retail vehicle based on the actions of hundreds of thousands of people. If I'm managing your PMS, I'll be managing it based on when you give me money and when you take the money out, right? So in a PMS, a manager is only managing the stock picking. He doesn't have to manage the inflows and outflows of millions of people. He's doing just the stock picking, and each stock is held in individual demat accounts. So जो पैसा देगा उसके लिए बाइंग होगा, और जो पैसा रिडीम करेगा उसका सेलिंग होगा. म्यूचुअल फंड ऐसा नहीं होता है. इन अ म्यूचुअल फंड there are, let's say, 1 million investors. In any given day, 1,000 people give money and 2,000 people take out money. So the remaining 9 lakh people have done nothing, but still there is buying, selling on an average, on a margin. On the margins, a mutual fund portfolio changes every day. Whereas the PMS portfolio doesn't need to change. It changes only if the customer is taking some actions. So construct is different, but regulation is as right up to the mark.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much from my side.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I've already taken my half an hour.
No, sir. Yeah, Ashish ji, yeah, PMS and AIF ticket size, minimum ticket size, how much investor can purchase?
So SEBI ka rule hai, sir, for a PMS minimum is 50 lakhs, for a AIF minimum is 1 crore. But generally what happens is that is in a AIF, normally there is a drawdown structure. So people are not investing 1 crore at one go. Over a period of 6 months to 12 months, based on certain drawdowns, 1 crore is typically collected. But yes, the SEBI minimum is for a PMS 50 lakhs, for a AIF 1 crore.
And AIF and PMS in parallel model fund, can we explain about model fund?
No, sir. So generally what happens is that in a PMS, yes, it is running as a model portfolio, meaning that for all clients, the portfolio, there are different types of portfolios we run. But basically, if the client has not given any specification, then for all clients, it will be a standard portfolio. Because if you have, let's say, 200 customers, you cannot run 200 discretely different portfolios. So for all customers who have given a certain specification, the portfolio looks the same, but it is held individually in individual demat accounts. It's not handled as a pool the way it does in a mutual fund.
Okay.
So that common portfolio is called a model portfolio, basically.
Yes, model portfolio can be reduced amount, that is 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, it may be.
No, sir. Minimum to per account 50 lakhs ही होता है. वो तो SEBI का requirement है.
Okay. So then 50 lakhs, if an investor who has already equity in his demat and other things,
yes,
they need not necessary that at that time only 50 lakhs checks, or including
they can give shares. You are right. They can transfer the shares. A lot of times people have their own equity portfolio which they don't want to manage, or they are not happy with it. So instead of giving cash, they can transfer the stocks, which the fund manager can later on realign as per the model portfolio. Absolutely right.
Yes. Then need not that mandatory is always need a check or amount.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right.
It is another. Shanojji, something light on that. What type amount in our country in lying on that? Assessor also, please light on that. How many fund is lying?
So there are, no, sir, there are 360 PMS managers in India. तो सबका अपना अलग-अलग portfolios रहेगा.
नहीं, मैंने जो बोल रहा है कि already जो क्या है, just dormant account से पड़ा हुआ है उनका equity.
Oh yes, that will be running in millions. That will be running in millions and millions. I mean, that will be running in lakhs of crores actually, if you ask me.
सनोज जी, कुछ डेटा है आपके पास?
Data as such अलग से तो नहीं है, but if you just see the 100% of GDP अपना market capitalization है, और 50% आप उसमें equity निकालते हैं, promoter का 25% निकालते हैं, institution का 25% retail के पास में. Assume that among them even say 10%, 15%, 20% are those among the HNI segment, then this is all the data possible tomorrow can come to any PMS house. So that's a very big number. Sir, I rightly said more than 1 million. Could be.
What is the actual figure? Assuming
I do
figure.
not have this actual figure.
Someone says 50 lakhs crore like that lying in like this.
25% of the total capitalization comes to around 50 lakh crore rupees. So that is what is this. Out of that, how many of them are passively being managed by the retail participant who could potentially come to the PMS house tomorrow? That is one area which is to be seen later.
Yes, my understanding is that type of fund we can manage if we are trying to pull it, we can manage. Ashish sir, what are your thoughts?
See, it's like this, that it's a fact. If you take the total breakup of our market cap, about 50% is owned by promoters, 21% is owned by foreigners, right? 15% is owned by insurance companies and mutual funds and these kind of institutions. So say about 10-12% or some such number will be directly owned in people's demat accounts, which is individual people. Now, of course, all those individual people are not actively managing their portfolios. A lot of it is lying dormant in demat accounts. So if they don't want to manage it themselves, then clearly they have the choice of giving it to a PMS manager also, right? So I think based on what Gautam sir is saying, the addressable market for a PMS is very, very large. And hence, if you are a wealth manager or an investment advisor, then definitely you should have this kind of service as one of the things which you are able to offer to your clients. I think that is the important thing to keep in mind.
That's a big opportunity for everyone. Big opportunity.
गौतम दा,
yes,
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था सर से। सर समझिए सर कि मोस्ट जो जितने भी पीएमएस है जो इनका टेन्योर अबव 10 इयर्स या अराउंड 10 इयर्स है, सबका एवरेज रिटर्न अप्रॉक्स इन लाइन विद म्यूचुअल फंड ही है। यदि आप मल्टी कैप या स्मॉल कैप के कंपेयर में अप्रॉक्स 18, 16, 17, 15 मोस्ट ऑफ द म्यूचुअल फंड आर गिविंग as like as PMS is there.
I didn't understand. Most of the PMS are giving. Sorry, can you repeat your question?
If you compare to mutual fund to 10 years horizon,
yeah,
they in line with इनके मैंने रिटर्न के क्षेत्र में एक ही जैसे हैं लगभग।
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है सर। एक्चुअली क्या है, इनफैक्ट द रियलिटी इज दैट PMSs का देयर आर हार्डली एनी PMS with 10-15 years history. A lot of PMSs have come in the last 5 years. And you will find that in the last, sir, PMS may be good performer, not good performer. Mutual fund may be good performer, not good performer. In every category, if you take AIF, PMS or mutual fund, in every category, there will be some good performers and there will be some not so good performers. The only difference is that we are not trying to say one is better than the other. There is a certain reason why certain investment advisors or certain HNIs or certain affluent investors, they are preferring PMS and AIF for a certain reason. The reason could be one of the following things. One is that in the last 3-4 years, as mutual fund sizes have grown and as regulation has become stricter and stricter, the investment latitude for mutual funds has gone down. And if you see last 3 to 5 years, a lot of mutual funds have failed to beat the index. And generally, a lot of mutual funds have not been able to perform. Second is that if you see in mutual funds, you cannot have performance linked fee. You have only a fixed fee in the regular plan or the direct plan. In PMS, it's not like that. Depending on the ticket size, you can change the fee. Instead of fixed fee, you can have performance linked fee. In performance linked fee, you can have a fee over a hurdle or you can have a fee on the alpha. Similarly, if you see AIFs have long short funds. Mutual funds don't have long short funds. In AIF, if mutual funds, when they're doing credit linked portfolios, you have seen what type of challenges have come. So now people are doing credit linked portfolios in AIFs. So there are different applications for PMS and AIF, and there are different pros and cons. That is what one has to keep in mind. If you directly compare, तो दोनों में कुछ अच्छा रहेगा, कुछ खराब रहेगा. But अगर specifically आप last 3 years, last 5 years देखोगे, some of the PMS and AIF managers, like for example, Abacus is there, or White Oak is there. A lot of these companies, ASK is there. A lot of these guys have performed better than the corresponding mutual funds. So, you know, you can get the data. Some of these third-party data is available. You can check and then you can make a comparison. But 10-15 year history, ज़्यादातर PMSs का है नहीं actually. Most PMSs have about 5 year, 7 year kind of history.
Thank you.
Sir, so I'll have to excuse myself. Thank you very much for listening me out. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. We are thinking that every 15 days we are just 1 hour, 2 hour for discussing update market and everything. I need your help, sir.
Sure, sure. All the best. Definitely. Let me know, please.
Yes, and we are doing PMS for certification course also. We are giving training and how to do the business. That learning also we are doing. How to do the business like this. Many people have no money, but they have more than crore rupees in his demat. So we can convert it. So that learning process we will do, including NSM 1021A paper, which is mandatory after September 2022. Everybody need to clear the exam, otherwise nobody can handle this PMS product. Either MC side or distributor side, both side. Because our regulator is very strict, very strict. Well, whatever, when they are saying anything, they do that thing. So thank you so much. Any question from any forum? Because Ashish ji nikal raha hai. So any question, anyone, please, last 1 or 2 maximum. एक नितिन कुमार चैट बॉक्स में लिखा है, any company distribute all product of PMS and AIF?
Yes, yeah. If you have an ARN, you are allowed. Yes.
And any question from audience? Gurmeet ji, कोई question है आपका? Gurmeet ji.
Thank you so much. Really nice listening with Ashish ji. अब मैं इसे process बस वो जानना चाहूँगा, कैसे PMS में join करें, कैसे इसको distributorship जैसे हम VRMFD कैसे join करें, क्या processes होंगे, तो ये अगर
we have our offices in which location are you based, sir? We can help you with that.
I'm from Rampur. It's near to Muradabad.
Yeah, sir. We can arrange. You know, we have offices in Delhi and everywhere. So I'll have someone to connect with you. But basically, anybody who has a ARN can become an intermediary. So there's no problem with that. I'll have someone to connect with you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now we are discussing about how to do the course and how to take. Sonu sir, please tell how to do the crash course and how to do the business PMS and AI. Sonu ji.
Yes. Thank you. It was a great listening to by Somya sir, Ashish sir rather. He has done much better than probably I could have thought of or could have planned with. So that part is done. No need to go back to that topic. Now, how to prepare for the exam? That's very simple. I have only one suggestion based on my own experience. Just keep it.
Yes.
I have just only one suggestion for all who are seriously planning to go into PMS examination. That's an NSM 21 is that if you are serious, then only you better prepare. That's what. If somebody is serious, then this is a very, very simple examination. But if somebody is not serious, then it's a difficult examination. I am very, very candid with this, number one. Number two, this examination is not about only one equity. If you go into the books, no, it has a chapter, there are 10, 11 chapters, no. In first 5, 6 chapters, you learn to know about anything. You have equity, you have a derivatives, you have a mutual fund, you have a lot on the debt market. In fact, the way it has been covered in debt market, except for the debt module, it is the most vastly covered. And then you have a coverage on the little bit on commodity, little bit on currency as well. So in a sense, you are in fact learning about all the 4 asset classes and their operational part. That's one aspect. And then the remaining part 2 that I say normally is that where you have operations, strategy, compliances, regulations, taxations, and all that comes. Part 2 is not difficult. That is something that you have to memorize, simple. But part 1 is where actually you have to learn and understand, because questions does not come directly. Questions come with indirect references. So first 5-6 chapters is where actually we have to learn a lot. Now the best part is that with the mutual fund background, one complete chapter is almost prepared. With the mutual fund background, I say 30-35% of that module is also prepared. But you need to engage with the discussion. You need to discuss, you need to engage with that. I found based on my experiences that candidates does not discuss a lot. They do not ask questions. They do not get more probably inclination towards discussing and making up. Once you discuss, your concepts get clear. That's the only basic thing that I always ask. And besides, this book is very, very comprehensive. If you can go through the books once or twice, it's not a very difficult examination.
What about crash course, please?
Crash course is for only those who can at least handle the questions. Means suppose somebody does not have a concept of yield. Now, how can I take them to yield to maturity, current yield, and the yield to call and all? So those becomes now. If you have a concept in the derivative duration, I can take it the modified duration. So crash course is only for those whose basics are absolutely prepared. No, a lot of people are CFP and other program. No, so they, of course, their basics are clear. But then the part 2 is that you need to discuss it. See, having basics cleared is one thing, and engaging in discussing that is part 2. That's the one thing. In PMS examination, your questions will not come direct. It will come indirect with reference of what you have learned so far. So discussion and engagement is a lot more important. So crash course is for those whose basics are absolutely clear. Suppose I ask 10 questions, you are able to speak on, say, 7 questions, 8 questions. I do not say it's a perfectly answer. No answers are perfect. But then at least you can attempt to speak out. If you can do that, this means there's no inhibition inside. And then the crash course is good.
And,
yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Can I ask you one thing? This is Ram Singh Gora from Panipat. Yeah. In the invitation, this was written that direct PMS. So what was that related to? Can you just explain that?
No, direct PMS, couldn't get you the word. The PMS and AIF, these are the two components actually where we are discussing.
Webinar, yeah, it was on webinar on unlimited opportunity on direct PMS and AIF business career.
So
this was the...
Yes.
Direct was just to emphasize the word PMS and AIF. It is not direct and regular as such as in the mutual fund. So this direct...
No, anybody can only PMS and AIF business also. Because your Infosys banda, please बोलिए ना वो उसका क्या वो only PMS करता है after 1,500 crore.
मैं बताता हूँ आज के डेट में किसी के पास में ARN है, he can do only PMS, no problem. You do not do mutual fund, you do only PMS. That is one thing. Today ARN is the only component where is the hurdle for that. But going forward, 30th September 2022, anybody who has passed an ISM 21 means who has got PMS distributorship, he only directly can. So it depends upon the person's choice how he is able to create his own portfolio.
So you mean to say that besides of taking ARN, we could be selling directly PMS without taking any kind of ARN. You mean to say that with this direct word?
No. See, if you have a ARN, today you can sell both mutual fund and PMS.
Yes. That I understand.
Yeah. Post 30th September, if somebody has got this PMS in ISM 21 cleared, he only can. That's all.
So this was not related to direct and regular, because we can sell only regular PMSs, na? Direct PMS we can't sell.
That word is not this is not regular and direct like mutual fund.
This distinction is not here applicable as it is in the mutual fund. The word direct and regular are different treated in the mutual fund. It is here different in the sense that
in PMS also these two kind of things available, na?
See, PMS is a customized product. It's not a standard product. A person comes into a business contract with a PMS distributor, PMS house. Now, suppose a distributor comes in between. Now, distributionship is also something where you engage with the discussion. No, how you are going to charge fees, what extent you are going to charge fees. All these things are something which is customized. So it is not something where you can say that there's some kind of standardization has been done here. So it's all depends upon the kind of negotiation that you can probably do.
Okay. Can you please share your number? I'll contact you separately also.
Probably separately difficult for me because normally, so Gautam Bhai is the one through which you can do directly, because normally if I'm in class, so I normally do not pick up the phone. That's a very big problem with me. So just excuse me.
Okay, good. No issues. I'll take the number of Gautam Bhai.
I'm full time into academy only. So in a classes, normally calls goes just drops it.
No issue. Thank you.
And please, Shanuji, also tell we are starting next week, 8 June. Can we start 8 June? Wednesday, the new batch for SCAT course for 6 days.
Next Wednesday. Wednesday, or you can do it from, that's the 8th. No, you can do from Monday, that's the 13th. That's a better one. 8, 9, 10, I have a little tighter in this one. 13th onward, I am very good. I have a time in the evening side.
We have mentioned 7th, but 7th, many people are told me that 7th is not possible. So 8 is the
If you want, you can start from 10th. Leave 8th and 9th. I can do at least from 10th, or even 13th will be the final.
Sir, I told you I'm traveling now 10 to 17th.
Okay. So fine. You will be considered naturally because you have already intimated. So in that case, okay, no problem. Start from 20th. That's a Monday.
That's perfect with me.
That's possible, no? So start from 20th. No? 1 week. You can have a preparatory program for the 1 week, where we can have some engagement through WhatsApp and all. And then start formal classes from the 20th. That's a bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's okay with me. And please start this time. Otherwise, again, I'll travel somewhere next month.
No, we can start 20th is already end of the month. So 20th, we have started another batch for NSM 15 also. That will be needed. Many people are ready to clear the exam within June, July. They are ready mentally. Many we have 2, 3, 4 batches who has not cleared the exam. So they are need the crash course another or refresher course. So we arrange for the NSM 15 also. So please prepare within the time, because we need 2 batches. One is PMS and another is NSM 15.
What is the NIS 15, sir?
NSM 15 for equity research.
Equity research. It is also compulsory.
If you want to do that, it will take, you can take charge from the investor.
You can
for advice. If you register yourself in SEBI as a research analyst, you can charge up to 5%.
Research analyst. Then you can start yet, no?
Yes, we have already batches, 2 or 3 batches, but they are not completed their exam. So we are trying to test course on that also. So we have trying to do 2 courses. One is NSM 21A, that is correlated. The two because 30% पढ़ाई इसमें common है.
Yeah, it is coming sooner, na? 31st September is.
Yes. That's why we are many people are asking that we need to clear the because their commission already many company already held withheld without clear the exam.
Without certificate, they can't release.
Yes. So we are trying to do 1, 2, 3, 4 crash courses for PMS and NSM 15. PMS is mandatory for 1st October.
And what is the fee structure, sir?
Fee structure for PMS 5,000 plus GST.
And 20
NSM 15 for 9,999 plus GST.
9,999 plus GST.
Yes, for NSM 15.
NISM 15.
So we are very shortly we are opening the both courses, and who are doing both courses, we can do something discount also.
Some give concession, na?
Yes. So I think Sanojji, we start PMS for 10th. We start from 10th. Otherwise, we cannot start another batch. First, we start PMS. After 20th, we start NSM 15.
Okay.
Sanojji, are you here?
Yeah, ma'am was telling about 20th. So how can we start from 10th?
Ma'am always troubling that or not academy is not working for ma'am only. Ma'am, second batch.
But sir, you started the batch long back, and then after that
No.
Yeah,
so
that is not my fault, na, sir.
No. So, madam, next second batch you can join. We started 10th, completed within 20th, and second batch when we are started this month. Now we are frequently started this crash course. This course is 5 plus 1 day, 6 days. One alternate date we have done it because people have no time to do the courses, so all are very busy. So we are
also busy, but then you did not have the classes. We kept asking you, and you kept saying that you're busy.
No, that pupil only 3, 4, 5 people on that time.
Yes, sir, so, but that's not our fault, no.
No fault is
now I can. Yeah, now I cannot attend this class because I booked this trip because you were not giving any date.
Don't worry. You definitely, and next batch when we are start, you can also join them.
Anyway, you send a link. If I can get an internet connection and I'm traveling, then I will attend.
This is completely digital. So don't worry. Whenever you stay, you can join.
So what happens is that when I'm at home, I get a proper Wi-Fi and I can attend continuously. I can ask questions and all that.
Yes.
And when I'm traveling,
don't worry. I give you the only for you the recording only for you, not.
Oh, so nice. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do
so
that.
Don't worry. Okay. Then we have started because we have no time. We are already late.
Sir, I wanted to give the exam also, but I finished one reading also. And then I was waiting for the class to complete to book the seat, but then that never happened.
Yes, NSM 15 also we are doing.
Yes, I have read one reading for that, and I wanted to give both the exam continuously. Who's going to go twice?
So yeah, that's why when you are completed PMS 21A, you already 30% of NSM 15 also covered.
Yeah, I read it once already.
30 to 40% already covered. So continuous these two paper simultaneously who have done. They surely they clear this both.
Okay, sir. You had given us in research analyst that question thing was very helpful. Can you give it for PMS also? That login in pre-cafe.
Yes.
That will be very helpful. Then we can practice those questions also.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's why we are reframing that's why we are training. We are reframing, and after that, through that. We who are want to be CFP, that Sivraj Singh is also there for CFP.
Sir, पहले ये खत्म कर दो बाद में सोचेंगे.
बस वो ये मेरा पास बहुत जानकारी आया, इसलिए ये सिर्फ को भी बुला लिया कि
पहले एक करते हैं ना, पास होने के बाद देख लेंगे. Okay.
Any question from any?
Yes,
Gautam
sir.
da,
See, hello, sir. I would like to join PMS as well as research analyst.
Yes.
Presently, I'm not in Bombay.
Okay.
Will I be also getting in the recording?
Oh, but if you are not joining, how on the recording is not enough for clearing the exam.
No, I will join the sessions, but unfortunately, because of time
Yeah,
fluctuation.
I actually the problem is recording compliance issue. I personally I tell you how to do it. You yourself. Don't worry.
Because see, I'm presently not in India. That is a problem. The time fluctuation.
Okay,
also
okay. Don't worry. We can talk with WhatsApp.
Okay, sir. Okay.
My
WhatsApp.
yes, my WhatsApp number is same 990. Write it down.
Just a second. Yeah, tell me, sir.
I have given in the chat box.
Okay.
990-396-7272.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. We are trying to help in all the way, because we need to clear the exam also. Because if you are not clear the exam, your knowledge is meaningless, meaningful, not meaningful. Please.
Okay, sir. One question. What time will be the?
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Sir, what time will be the class?
शाम को होना होगा ये 6 to 8, not more.
6 to 8 from on all the days.
Day alternate day.
Alternate day. Alternate day. Which day? Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, like this.
Okay, fine. I'll try to this, because where I'm traveling, it's 1 hour 30 minutes ahead of India.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Om, please.
Can I have your number, please?
NISM 15 আর এই MFD যে বিজনেসটা সাইমালটেনিয়াসলি দুটোই করা যায় এজ এ
Yes,
registered
this is
MFD
দুটোই simultaneously you can do, and you take the charges from the investor with SEBI regulated. This is SEBI regulated. MFD and research analyst you can take, and which is SEBI regulated, no problem here. Hanumanji, please. Rauji, hello. Andres Hunmant Rao, please ask your question.
हेलो गौतम दा।
हाँ, yes.
गौतम दा, रिफ्रेशर कोर्स का भी कोई फी होगा?
Basically we are not doing refresher course, we are doing crash course. Is completely because 15 NSF 15, because refresher course is something which is there, but crash course is complete 0 to 100, A to Z in and that subject. The new person can do this course. Refresher means just while looking 1 or 2 days.
नहीं गौतम दा, मैंने पीछे किया था NISM 15, इसके लिए पूछ रहा हूँ, बाकी कुछ नहीं।
हम बोल रहे हैं, समझ गया। रिफ्रेशर कोर्स और ये क्रैश कोर्स दोनों है, एक चीज नहीं है। हम लोग
Okay.
क्रैश कोर्स का बात कर रहे हैं, रिफ्रेशर कोर्स का बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो ये क्रैश कोर्स में जो पुराना लोग है वो भी अटेंड करेंगे, लेकिन वो लोग को जो ऑलरेडी पेड पैसा दिया है रेगुलर क्लास में, वो लोग को हम लोग डिस्काउंट में कराएंगे। ये बात
तो दोनों का क्या फीस होगा फिर, 15 का और 21 का?
21 का 5000 प्लस जीएसटी है, और ये उसका 9,000 है। जो आप लोग जैसे है, जो आप लोग ऑलरेडी 10,000 जो दिया है, उसका आपका 1/3 देना पड़ेगा। मतलब ये 999 3,300 तक ऐसा करेंगे, तो जा किसी में दर्द नहीं होगा ऐसा। ठीक है ना? क्योंकि क्योंकि वो NSM 15 रिफ्रेशर करेंगे तो रोमित करेंगे, और हम NSM 15 अभी जो क्रैश कोर्स करेंगे वो सनत जी करेंगे। तो दोनों के अंदर दोनों तो अलग हो गया ना
सर। लेकिन अभी दोनों साथ में करेंगे तो दोनों क्लियर हो जाएंगे ना अभी।
इसलिए तो हम लोग दोनों के एक के बाद एक कराएंगे। इसलिए तो दोनों हम लोग चुन लिया कि पहले PMS क्लियर कर देंगे तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा, उसके बाद NSM 15 करेंगे, क्योंकि उसमें 30 to 40% पढ़ाई कॉमन रहेगा।
वही गौतम का ध्यान रखिए, दोनों साथ में क्लियर हो गए तो क्या इजी होता है बाकी।
वही इसलिए तो, लेकिन आप लोग का वो चाहत होना चाहिए, इसलिए क्रैश कोर्स कर रहा है कि शॉर्ट टाइम में इसमें हो जाएगा। 1 महीना 1.5 महीने के अंदर दोनों खत्म हो जाएगा, क्योंकि किसी के पास इतना टाइम नहीं है। अगला जून जुलाई तक सबका ये क्लियर कराना है। जितना हम लोग NSM 15 एंड PMS किया है वो एग्जाम नहीं दे पाया, तो उसका कराना है। ठीक है ना?
ओके।
और कुछ बताएंगे? कोई एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम ऑडियंस? हम लोग एक ये मेंबरशिप हम लोग बना रहा है, जिसमें अभी एक स्क्रीन शेयर कर रहा है, देख लीजिए। देखिए, SDGA नॉलेज हब, ये मेंबरशिप इज ओपन फॉर एवरीबॉडी, म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, IFA, स्टूडेंट, प्रोफेशनल, एवरीवन। इसका फीस हम लोग ले रहा है जस्ट सिंपल 1 2 3 4 इंक्लूसिव ऑल फॉर फाइनेंशियल 22-23, and there will be online news update, WhatsApp group relevant to business, finance and economics. Important graph and chart will be analyzed. Every fortnight, 90-minute news update will be discussed in online mode. Employment information in capital market time to time. Members will be enjoyed up to 60% subsidy on different valued professional workshop and training around the year. ये हम लोग ये लॉन्च कर रहा है, ये SDGA नॉलेज हब बोल के एक क्लब बना रहा है, जिसमें जो जोड़ेंगे वो लोग का ये फैसिलिटीज मिलेगा। इसमें अपडेशन रहेगा, सबके लिए है। जिसका नौकरी चाहिए उसका नौकरी का इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगा, जिसका जो कुछ नया कुछ कोर्स करना चाहता है उसका मिलेगा, डिस्काउंट मिलेगा। ये सब कुछ हम लोग ये मेंबर लोग को दे पाएंगे। हमारा देखिए NSM का जितना मॉड्यूल है हम लोग सभी कर पाएंगे। जो जरूरी है NSM सीरीज 8 इक्विटी डेरिवेटिव सर्टिफिकेशन एग्जाम, NSM 10A 10B लेवल 1 और जो फॉर RIA, NSM 15 रिसर्च एनालिस्ट, NCFM मॉड्यूल इन्वेस्टमेंट एनालिस्ट, NCFM ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रेटजीज मॉड्यूल, NCFM कैपिटल मार्केट, NCFM टेक्निकल मूव, ये तो रहेगा। इसके साथ बिजनेस बैंकिंग जो प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर सौरभ चौधरी बताया वो भी हम लोग करेंगे टाइम टू टाइम। इसके साथ हमारा साथ शिवराज जी भी है। शिवराज जी आप अभी लाइन में है? शिवराज, हेलो शिवराज सिंह, आर यू? तो यही है बात, हम लोग ये चालू कर रहे हैं। तो जो लोग आपका सीखने चाहता है, हनुमान जी हाथ हैंड रेज किया है, लेकिन अभी तक वो नहीं बोल रहा है कुछ। सनोज जी, हेलो। सनोज जी, हेलो सनोज जी। हाँ क्या Uncle ji, unmute yourself and tell me what your question. Shanoj ji.
गौतम साहब भी हो गया ना डिस्कशन मेजर।
सनोज जी, हेलो सनोज जी, हेलो। हाँ, ये हम लोग का क्विट करना है, तो अब तो कुछ सुना कि नहीं। हम लोग ये बोल दिया कि हम लोग पहले तो NSM 21 है जो PMS के करेंगे, 10 तारीख से स्टार्ट करेंगे। डे ऑल्टरनेट डे में 6 डेज में कंप्लीट होगा। 5000 प्लस GST है। और ये जो है आपका NSM 15 है, उसके बाद करेंगे। उसका वैल्यूज है 9999 प्लस GST। उसका जो 8 डेज 10 डेज जो लगेगा उसके बाद करेंगे। और उसमें हमारा जो पुराना कैंडिडेट है, जितना आज तो 2-3-4 बैच हुआ है, तो जिसका एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं कर पाया, वो लोग को इसमें ज्वाइन करेगा। वो अभी बताए, इसमें औलोक जी है, वो बहुत सारा है जो बोल रहे हैं हम लोग को क्या लगेगा। तो हम बोला है कि आप लोग ऑलरेडी पेड किया है, तो इसके 1/3 आपको पे करना पड़ेगा, मतलब 3333 प्लस GST। तो ये बता दिया, जो पुराना बंदा लोग ऑलरेडी एक बार पेड किया है। और मेरा ख्याल से PMS में जो हम लोग 3-4 बंदा लोग का जो कोर्स करना है ये है, वो छोड़ के पहले बैच जो है वो लोग को हम लोग 20% डिस्काउंट दे देंगे जो दोबारा करेंगे। ठीक है ना सर?
फीस वगैरह आपका एरिया है, हमें केवल पढ़ाने से
नहीं, अरे ये देखिए, ओपन डिस्कशन होने क्या है ना, किसी का कोई दर्द है तो बता देंगे ना जो दर्द।
हम पढ़ा देंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, टेंशन नहीं।
तो ये हो गया। इसके बाद हम लोग बता दिया कि हम लोग जो क्लब मेंबरशिप का थोड़ा उसका थॉट प्रोसेस थोड़ा एक बार दोबारा बोल दीजिए। तो जो अभी जो लोग है, हम लोग क्लब मेंबरशिप अभी चालू कर देंगे तुरंत। उसका जो 1 2 3 4 देंगे, फॉर्म फिलअप करेंगे, उसका आइडेंटिटी कार्ड भी निकाल देंगे। लाइक दिस हम दिखाएंगे कि कैसे ये हो रहा है। तो थोड़ा बताइए।
मतलब ये एक नई कोशिश ये है कि जो लोग बिजनेस फिनांस के फील्ड में है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के फील्ड में है, अभी उनको क्लाइंट से जब भी मिलते हैं तो हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ नई बातें करनी पड़ती है। उनको नई डेवलपमेंट जो होती है उनसे पूछते हैं लोग कि क्या हुआ है, बताइए इसके बारे में। या फिर वो नहीं भी पूछते हैं तो फिर हम क्या बात करें। हर बार तो आप स्टेटमेंट ऑफ अकाउंट और म्यूचुअल फंड की स्कीम्स के बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं। तो उसके लिए अभी क्या है, अभी आपके पास में बहुत बढ़िया चीज है, फैक्ट शीट मिलती है आपको। आप फैक्ट शीट पढ़ेंगे तो सब कुछ उसमें मिल जाएगा, ये बात बिल्कुल सही है। हम लोग प्रोग्राम भी करते हैं फैक्ट शीट रीडिंग का, बट सवाल ये कि ये करता हूं कि कितने लोग फैक्ट शीट पढ़ते हैं महीने में रिलीजियसली। तो नहीं पढ़ते हैं लोग। तो इसके लिए ये एक बात चल रही है कि साहब किस तरीके से हम लोग महीने में कम से कम 2 बार, कम से 2 ही बार, ज्यादा नहीं, उससे ज्यादा करने से लोग आते नहीं है, एक बार भी चलेगा तो करके, और फिर उसमें जो भी इवेंट हुए हैं
स्क्रीन देख सोनू जी, स्क्रीन की देख पा रहा है?
हाँ, देख पा रहा हूँ।
ये मेंबरशिप कार्ड तुरंत बन जाएगा। जो 1 2 3 4 जो फॉर्म फिलअप है वो भरने से इसका ऐसा आइडेंटिटी कार्ड मिल जाएगा। instantly.
हाँ, तो फिर वो जो उस पीरियड में, जिस पीरियड में पिछले प्रोग्राम हुए थे, फिर नए प्रोग्राम, उस बीच में जो भी इवेंट हुए हैं उसको हम लोग 90 मिनट्स में डिस्कस करेंगे, सवाल जवाब करेंगे, बस केवल उसके बारे में ही बात होगी, ना कि जनरल बातें होंगी। ये एक पर्पस है। अब देखते हैं कितना सफल होता है, कितना लोग इसको पसंद करते हैं। That's it. ठीक है सर।
Okay. So then we are open. The class will be started from 10th June. कौन सा बार है 10 जून?
फ्राइडे है।
फ्राइडे हम लोग 6 बजे शाम को 6।
ठीक है सर।
ठीक है, हम लोग इसमें देख लेते हैं, कोशिश क्या है, क्या हो रहा है, मेंबरशिप बना रहा है, सब कुछ इसके बाद एक हो जाएगा। तो आज सौरभ सर कुछ बताएंगे? सौरभ सर, हम क्लोज करने जा रहे हैं। सौरभ सर है कि नहीं क्या? हेलो।
Nothing new. You can close now.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, friends. Today we are closing our session. Thank you so much.